Hello dear followers, welcome. The Pyramid of Khafre, also known as Chephren, stands as the second largest marvel at the Giza plateau, distinguished by its remarkable limestone casing that still graces its summit. Despite its impressive stature, it often resides in the shadows cast by its renowned counterpart, the Great Pyramid. Surprisingly, our knowledge of this colossal structure remains scant, relying heavily on ancient reports for primary information. While Egyptology offers various valid attributions to Khafre, intriguing alternative theories persist. Giulio Malli, for instance, proposes a fascinating idea suggesting Khufu's involvement in a double pyramid project, left incomplete and later taken up by Khafre. Unlike the intricate interior of Khufu's pyramid, Khafre's holds a simpler design. However, this lack of complexity hasn't garnered the same level of scrutiny, a lamentable oversight. In essence, Khafre's pyramid stands as a testament to ancient ingenuity, yet shrouded in mystery, awaiting further exploration and understanding. So let's get started. At first, there have been numerous explorations of the pyramid's area since ancient times, dating back to around 430 BCE by the Greek historian Herodotus. However, most of these visits involved external explorations of the pyramids until Giovanni Battista Caviglia arrived in 1817, attempting vigorously to discover the entrance of King Khafre's pyramid. Despite his efforts, all attempts ended in failure. However, a year later, in 1818, Giovanni Battista Belzoni arrived, through whom we obtained the first preliminary drawing of Khafre's pyramid. Subsequently, many explorations of this pyramid ensued. But who is Giovanni Battista Belzoni? Giovanni Battista Belzoni, an Italian traveler and explorer, was the first in modern times to enter the burial chamber of the Pyramid of Khafre through the upper entrance on its north side. After clearing the rubble from the chambers, Belzoni described the interior of the pyramid with detailed drawings. He discovered a granite sarcophagus in the burial chamber, which appeared to be filled only with earth and stones. The bones in the rubble were not found until the day after the pyramid was discovered, but after being sent to London, it was determined that they were bones of a bull. Closer examination of the burial chamber revealed traces of ancient and medieval treasure hunters, including an iron hammer, and Coptic, Demotic, and Arabic inscriptions on the walls. To secure his priority, Belzoni left a huge inscription on the wall, discovered by G. Belzoni on the 2nd of March 1818. Let's take a look at this drawing. Here, Belzoni provided a simplified schematic view of the structure of the Pyramid of Khafre. However, given the circumstances and the era in which it was created, we can forgive some errors in this drawing. Belzoni's depiction of the pyramid, while not overly detailed, still provides valuable insights. However, it wasn't until 1837 when Howard Vyse, along with engineer John Perring, offered more precise drawings and dimensions of the structure. Further elaborations on the pyramid's details were provided by Piazzi Smith in 1867 and Flinders Petrie in 1883. In 1966, Italian scholars Maragioglio and Rinaldi contributed additional detailed drawings and observations. Unfortunately, like many structures in Egypt, our understanding of the pyramid remains rudimentary and incomplete due to reliance on outdated reports for primary data. In this illustration by Perring, the pyramid is situated southwest of Khufu's pyramid. Various theories have been proposed regarding its placement, ranging from a diagonal alignment with Heliopolis to astronomical alignments, and even a site plan developed by John Lagon for Giza. Regardless of the rationale, extensive groundwork was necessary to construct this colossal structure. The entire Giza plateau slopes downward from the northwest to the southeast. This presented a challenge during construction, as discrepancies in elevation arose between different corners of the site. To address this, a significant amount of rock had to be excavated on the north, south, and west sides of the pyramid, highlighted in yellow. The rock beneath the pyramid's perimeter, which was substantial, was retained and fashioned into steps. From this eastern perspective, we observe the extensive excavation of the plateau, with remnants of the rock quarrying operations visible in the northwest corner of the cut. The distance from the top of the rock face to the north face of the pyramid measures approximately 58 meters. Meanwhile, the distance from the cut to the west side of the pyramid is roughly half this distance, totaling around 28 meters. In this perspective, similar to the previous one, we're facing south along the western facade of Khafre's pyramid. The rocky cliff on the right slopes gently southward, reaching a height of about 10 meters at its peak. The initial 4 or 5 visible steps on this side of the pyramid are actually carved from bedrock, with the core masonry blocks placed above them. The substantial amount of excavated rock was not wasted but repurposed into the pyramid's core or utilized to construct massive foundations supporting the lower southeast corner. Maragioglio and Rinaldi affirm this, stating, "This is evident in the absence of rock in the southeast corner, unlike the western part of the southern side and the central part of the eastern side." This observation is further supported by recent excavation findings near the southeast corner, approximately 24.20 meters west and 21.25 meters south of it, which revealed inserted blocks instead of natural rock. Facing eastward, we observe the elevation of the bedrock at the southwest corner, adorned with the superimposed core masonry. Erosion is notably evident at this juncture, likely exacerbated by the concentrated force of strong southerly winds funneled through the narrow passage between the distant rock face, approximately 28 meters away, and the pyramid. Continuing along the western base, we encounter the more intact rock-cut steps. Fissures in the rock punctuate the plateau, sometimes blurring the distinction between natural rock formations and man-made masonry components. The gradient of the plateau inclines more steeply from west to east compared to its north-south axis. When looking south from the quarry stumps at the northwest corner, the red line offers a rough estimate of the amount of rock that was excavated around the pyramid, as well as the height of the remaining rock used to shape the northwest corner of the pyramid core. The presence and extent of bedrock steps along the north and south sides of the pyramid are not clearly discernible from the available images. However, Maragioglio and Rinaldi note that at the northeast and southeast corners, there is no natural rock present. These corners are entirely constructed of masonry. These corners are constructed using massive masonry blocks, some reaching up to 2 courses high, over 2 meters. Occasionally, an offset leveling cut is made midway up to mark the top of the first casing course. While bedrock is absent at these corners, as we approach the middle of the east face, we encounter a rocky spur that forms the first course of the pyramid's core and sometimes the second course before gradually disappearing towards the southeast corner. This spur extends further eastward, where it was flattened to accommodate the pyramid temple. Here we have a portion of Maragioglio and Rinaldi's east-west section of the Khafre complex. Surrounding the pyramid was a stone enclosure wall, estimated to be approximately 8 meters in height and with a base width of about 3.14 meters. This wall enclosed a paved courtyard, believed to be 20 cubits wide, equivalent to 10.5 meters, encircling the pyramid. Look here. We gaze southwest from Khafre's pyramid. You can see the northern pier, terrace, is prominently visible. It was built using large limestone blocks, with its northern boundary blending into the northern quarry face. On the other hand, the southern pier is less distinct and is noted to be considerably deteriorated. Maragioglio and Rinaldi also mention that drainage considerations were taken into account at different locations across the site. For instance, they mention, the lower section of the western terrace is not level. Instead, it features a shallow depression in the center, allowing rainwater to flow towards the south. The purpose behind the extensive piers or terraces at the southeast and northeast corners remains unknown. However, Maragioglio and Rinaldi suggested that the pyramid might have been planned to be significantly larger. The pyramid features 2 entrances, both located on the north side. One leads out through the superstructure, while the lower entrance exits through the paved courtyard. Both entrances are positioned approximately 12.45 meters east of the pyramid's north-south axis, or, in cubits, the passage axis is about 24 cubits east of the pyramid's axis. According to I.E.S. Edwards, the lower chamber accessed by the lower entrance was likely the original burial chamber. To align the burial chamber beneath the pyramid's apex and have the entrance exit on the pyramid face, the pyramid would need to be situated approximately 61 meters further north. Edwards also suggests, an alternative explanation could be that the initial plan was to construct a pyramid covering a much larger area, and that the northern and eastern boundaries were later adjusted inward. In either case, a potential reason for the change in plans could have been the discovery of a suitable rock foundation for the causeway hidden beneath the sand along a line south of the originally chosen one. Maragioglio and Rinaldi further developed this notion by proposing the possibility of a pyramid measuring approximately 245 meters in length, which would surpass the size of Khufu's pyramid, measuring 229 meters in length. This is Maragioglio and Rinaldi's plan. The southwest corner of the pyramid is marked, and the outer boundaries of a 245-meter pyramid are indicated by dashed corner points labeled as B. These extended corner points fall within the boundaries of the piers. Although the piers, terraces do not connect to provide foundations for the eastern side of the enlarged pyramid, this gap is attributed to an early alteration of plans aimed at reducing the pyramid's size. Consequently, the original entrance, which no longer exits through the pyramid's face due to the reduction in size, leads instead to the paved courtyard. Hence, a new entrance was constructed for the reduced-sized pyramid, estimated to be around 213 meters. If a larger pyramid measuring 245 meters were constructed while retaining a courtyard width of 10.5 meters, the position of the north enclosure wall would likely be at a comparable distance from the rock quarry face as the western enclosure wall. It's possible that the wider space to the north was intentionally left for aesthetic purposes, considering that visitors approaching the pyramid from the east would have a better view. In contrast, the narrower space to the west of the pyramid might have been considered less significant, given its location at the rear where it is less visible. In this diagram by Keith Hamilton, the southwest corner is kept constant, and he has overlaid two pyramids. One measuring 411 cubits or 213 meters and an enlarged one measuring 470 cubits or 245 meters. The width of the courtyard is set at 20 cubits or 10.5 meters, while the enclosure wall is 3 meters wide. The north quarry face is positioned at a distance of 110 cubits or 57 meters from the 411 cubit pyramid, with the west quarry face set at half of this distance. The centers of both pyramids are indicated, and the entrance is shifted to the east by 24 cubits or 12.5 meters in the 411 cubit pyramid, whereas it is shifted to the west by 5.5 cubits or 3 meters in the 470 cubit pyramid. Khufu's pyramid entrance was displaced to the east by 7.25 meters, while the red pyramid's was around 3.5 meters. In contrast, Menkauri's pyramid and the north entrance of the bent pyramid are located at the center. For the current entrance to be aligned with the central axis of the pyramid, its base length would need to be approximately 239 meters. Anything smaller than this would cause the entrance to be displaced further to the east. In this vertical section, as we see, the impact of enlarging the pyramid to 470 cubits or 245 meters on the position of the lower entrance becomes apparent. Currently, this entrance lies beneath the courtyard pavement. However, if a larger pyramid had been intended, its height above the pyramid's base would have been only about 6.5 meters. This is significantly lower compared to other pyramids, such as Khufu's, which stands at around 17 meters, Khafre's upper passage at about 12.80 meters, Bent's just under 12 meters, and the Red Pyramid at over 28 meters. Only the much smaller Pyramid of Menkauri, at approximately 4.2 meters, would have a lower height. Lehner and Horst suggested that an enlarged pyramid of 245 meters would result in the lower entrance exiting the pyramid face at the same height as the upper passage. However, this assertion seems inaccurate. If the enlarged pyramid were smaller than 245 meters, the height of the lower entrance above the base would be even lower. It would seem unusual to construct such a massive pyramid and expose its entrance so close to the ground for observation. Moreover, the angle of the lower passage is different from what is typically observed. While the upper passage conforms to the standard angle of around 26.5 degrees, the lower passage is much shallower at just over 21 degrees. If the lower chamber was indeed the original burial chamber, it would be significantly distant from the apex of the 245-meter pyramid. This is perhaps why Edwards suggested that the pyramid was intended to be situated some 61 meters further north. In summary, the evidence supporting the idea of a larger pyramid is not definitive. Based on the available evidence, which is relatively limited for this structure, it seems more likely that the current pyramid we see today does not require an enlargement theory to explain its features. Dear viewers, here we are at the end of today's video, but we haven't finished discussing all the secrets of the Pyramid of King Khufu yet. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the supplementary videos about the Pyramid of King Khufu because there's more to talk about. In the upcoming videos, we'll delve into the remaining details of the pyramid, whether it's about the external structure or the internal structure. See you soon in a new video. Goodbye.